Alright, this is Brother Ward again, and we're going to look at number 5 now. So on number 5 it says that Carl is building a right triangle hot tub that has a leg 10 feet more than twice the other leg. So, make this a little bit bigger. We can draw a quick sketch of a right triangle. Oops, that's not very good. And it says that the hypotenuse, which is the side opposite the right angle, is 25 feet. And the one leg is 10 feet more than twice the other. So if I call the length of this one x, this one is 10 more than 2 times x, 10 more than twice x. Alright, at this point, we can use the Pythagorean theorem to write an equation. And the Pythagorean theorem says that if we have a right triangle, take the length of one leg squared plus the length of the other leg squared, and that should equal the length of the hypotenuse squared. So now let's use the distributive property to expand this. So that means 2x plus 10 times 2x plus 10. At 25 squared, I know is 625. So I'm going to use the distributive property, 2x times 2x, that's 4x squared. 2x times 10 is 20x. And 10 times 2x is another 20x. And 10 times 10 is 100. And we still have this initial x squared as well. So now let's add like terms. X squared plus 4x squared is 5x squared. 20x plus 20x is 40x. And the rest is still there. Alright, so a couple more steps before we get to the factoring. First, we want 0 on one side, so let's subtract 625 from each side of the equation. That gives us 0. I'm going to come up here and write the rest of my work up here. So we have 5x plus 40x minus 525 equals 0. Alright, so we're ready to factor, and we should first look for a greatest common factor. Do any of these have something in common as a factor? And yes, 5 is a common factor, so I'm going to factor out 5. And I get this. So now we're going to look at this, and we're trying to decide, I'll write it down here, if we can find two things that when you multiply them together give us negative 105, when we add them together, give us positive 8. So through some trial and error, eventually you should hit upon 15 and negative 7. 15 times negative 7 equals negative 105. 15 plus negative 7 equals positive 8. So that's exactly what we want. So now I'm going to rewrite 8x as 15x minus 7x. And then factor by grouping. So my first part of my group has a common factor of x, which leaves x plus 15. The second half of my group has a common factor of negative 7, which also leaves x plus 15. And again, I mentioned this in my earlier videos, but it's a good idea to double check by multiplying, by distributing. Does x times x equal x squared? Does x times 15 equal 15x? Does negative 7 times x equal negative 7x? Does negative 7 times 15 equal negative 105? If the answer is yes, then we've done it correctly so far, and it is. So let's proceed. Still have that factor of 5 sitting out there. I'm going to write what they have in common next, x plus 15. And then what's left is x minus 7. And finally, the zero product property. We're going to set each factor equal to 0, except the constant factor. I mentioned that in my earlier video too. You can either think of dividing each side by 5 so that it cancels, and 0 divided by 5 is still 0 on the right, or you can think of just the fact that it's a constant and therefore it will never equal 0. And then each of these equations has a solution. So the solutions to the equation are negative 15 and 7. But like some other problems we've done, because we're talking about lengths of sides of a triangle, the negative solution isn't relevant. So we're going to have x equals 7. And then here, for one leg, and for another leg, we'll have 2 times 7 plus 10. That's 14 plus 10, so 24. And so the two legs are 7 feet and 24 feet. And that's it. Hopefully that was helpful. And hope you have a good day.